Competitive research, phase 2. Okay. So we want to understand what is the average product rating for page one, for page one products. We also want to understand how many reviews that page one products have received. Okay. So if both of these are high, if there's a high count of products that have high ratings and a high review count, that's instantly a sign that that niche is going to be pretty competitive. So you're going to have to differentiate more when you're developing your product or you're sourcing your product to stand out amongst a crowd. Okay, but otherwise, it's just going to be really competitive. Okay, if you're trying to source toilet paper and sell on Amazon, you're probably going to get squashed because I'm going to assume that toilet paper, the top listings probably have 5,000, 10,000 reviews at this point. Okay. Which leads to the third bullet point that I've touched on a couple of times in this webinar, which is to analyze a product function or feature and analyze the potential for variation. A better word probably, and Tanisha's probably going to grill me on this, a better word probably is distinction or differentiation. It's not really variation. But I think as time moves forward, you got to think about how to differentiate. Okay. As time goes on, the days of just finding something in China that's already made and putting your brand on it and shipping it to Amazon, the door is closing really quickly on that. Because maybe you found it, but there's also there's also a phenomenon that all these factories are also very capable of just sending their products directly to Amazon to sell. So you're going to be outcompeted based on the fact that they're cutting you out as a middleman for margin. Plus, in China, some of you guys may correct me if I'm wrong, but the Chinese government used to offer e-commerce incentives to Chinese citizens to sell abroad. And so basically, I think it was on the order of something like 15 to 30% as a tax break. So imagine that the Chinese government is subsidizing these factories with an automatic 15%, 30% margin out the back. There's no way you can compete because, let's not to get political, but, we're here in the US, we're being taxed rather than being offered subsidies. So there's that phenomenon going on too, okay? You wanna look at product niches or keywords that have a pretty healthy sales to review ratio where you're able to get reviews quicker for each sale. So the higher, no. So what do we want to do here? No, we want more sales. I got this wrong last time too when we held this in person. So you want to look for niches where for every review, more sales are being generated. So Tanisha says that the door is already closed for just basically slapping a private label brand on a ready-made product to that's manufactured in China, or to be honest, from any country at this point. You're going to have to find a country that there is a huge barrier of entry, and Tanisha, correct me if I'm wrong, but there has to be some huge barrier of entry for people to get into in order to have an advantage. At the end of the day, this is all about arbitrage. This is all about finding a difference between your costs, right, and the margin you can make. And the higher the barrier of entry for you to either develop the product, to build a moat around your brand, around your product, the more defensive you can be with your product and with your brand, with your account, to stave off competition. But just keep in mind, capitalism is an engine that where innovation, whether it's through cost cutting or through differentiation to provide a value premium for product, it's always going to occur. So sooner or later, you're just going to have to keep in tow with that. Okay. So sales versus review ratio. So we want to find niches where for every review, you can generate more sales. So kind of take a step back and think about this. So if you go into the toilet paper niche, how many people do you imagine every time they buy a pack of toilet paper and get it shipped from Amazon, how many of them are going to be so amazed and excited by the pack of toilet paper they got that they're going to leave a review on Amazon about it? Pretty much next to nil, right? So the sales to review ratio for toilet paper is probably going to be really low. Meanwhile, for something like Cards Against Humanity, because they've built a moat and they've built a cult following and a fan following, their sales to review ratio is going to be really high because to a lot of people that game is perversely entertaining. They built that cult following. It's a rabid following, so they're going to be eager to leave a review for that product, and they're just going to generate a lot more sales too. Okay, all right. We also want to compare FBA versus Amazon. I'm sorry, FBA versus others, such as fulfilled by merchant or sold by Amazon. Okay, so if you're getting into a niche that is mostly FBA or all FBA, the creating a product listing and selling through FBA provides that listing and that product an advantage in the Amazon organic algorithm. Okay. Well, the problem nowadays is everybody may not realize that, but there's other conveniences with FBA. Whereas with FBM, for every order that a customer places, you have to fulfill it individually. So either you have to fill it or you have to find a 3PL to fulfill it for you. Okay. So, but FBM does not, an FBM listing, a listing that is fulfilled by merchant, is not equally weighted, is at a disadvantage in the Amazon A9 or organic algorithm compared to a fulfilled by Amazon listing, an FBA listing. Okay. So, but if you find a niche that is predominantly occupied by FBM listings, see if there's an opportunity for you to basically create an FBA listing and sell that product. Okay. Now, I also mentioned sold by Amazon. So, so recently in the last few months, we've seen Amazon be more aggressive with selling their own private label goods on Amazon, whether it's Amazon Basics or the 150 plus other brands that do not contain the word Amazon in it on Amazon. Okay. So, this used to be a trick to filter for, where if products are sold by Amazon, that's good for you. And the reason why is this, because the products are sold by Amazon are sold to Amazon in bulk by distributors or by manufacturers directly. Okay. So the listings that are seen on Amazon typically are not controlled and managed by these distributors or these manufacturers. So if you can imagine, like, say, Bounty or the toilet paper example, Charmin, right? So Charmin, their marketing team is focused on wherever they convert the most with ROI. So traditionally, it's been brick and mortar, okay? But their brand presence is so strong that they could just simply wholesale sell Amazon a ton of toilet paper, and then Amazon will take the responsibility to create the listing and sell it on Charmin's behalf, right? So Charmin doesn't have to really do a thing. Well, typically, Amazon, these listings that are created by Amazon were woefully and badly under-optimized. So this is where, as an individual seller, can have an advantage over these listings that are shipped and sold by Amazon, because because you can dial in. So once you have a good understanding of how SEO and SEM work on Amazon, then you can really dial things in to get a leg up versus these listings that are created by Amazon and effectively neglected by Amazon. Now, again, like I was saying a couple minutes earlier, times may be shifting a little bit, because a lot of these, we're seeing more and more, I mean, you guys have probably noticed, a lot more and more products that are sold by Amazon that are actually Amazon's own in-house private label brands, which, again, 2-3 years ago, Amazon had been neglecting. but we're starting to see that they're, to be honest with you, it almost seems that Amazon is unfairly marketing their own in-house brands, while pushing aside other brands in those niches that they're trying to penetrate. And so that's why if you guys have seen the headlines recently, there's a couple of headlines out there about perhaps the FTC getting in and investigating Amazon to whether they're implementing antitrust practices. And as a seller, as somebody who's trying to be as objective as possible, this is a case where I kind of have to side with the FTC. I feel like it's a little unfair that Amazon's doing this after reeling all these companies into selling Amazon, and then just steamrolling them. Okay, competitive research. A couple things to also look out for. So if you're looking at a niche where you see a lot of brand names you don't recognize, or you see a lot of brands that are just unpronounceable, you probably want to avoid it, because this is an indication that Chinese factories are selling directly on Amazon, or Chinese-based sellers. I'm Chinese myself, but sellers who are actually based in China who are selling on Amazon. They're spinning up these brand names that just don't make any sense, cannot be pronounced at all, and yeah. So if you see those brand names, those are telltale signs in that niche that there's going to be some funny business going on. So for example, in the garlic press niche, we're seeing this brand name Jachi, which I don't know if it's really something that's sold in Williams-Sonoma, but we're seeing this brand name Mitba. Okay, and let's see if I can find other. Okay, so here we go with an unpronounceable brand name. So here, right? Oops, this guy here, DCOU. How do you even pronounce that? So keep going down. Kit Help. Okay, Joseph is actually a major brand, and I'm surprised that there's no patent infringement being levied against this guy. But anyway, Kun Recon is actually surprisingly a legitimate brand. Don't ask me how I know. Charminer, that looks a little foreign. JSDOIN, I'm just classic. See ya, bro. Yeah, so definitely avoid the garlic press niche. So versus household brands or Amazon private label brands. And we did talk about the Amazon private label brands, that maybe this is shifting, okay? But another thing to look out for is seasonality. So some of these tools will show you the seasonality of the keyword. So Halloween's coming up, right? In just in a couple of days. Please don't get into Halloween products. They can make you a heck of a lot of money on Halloween and the week leading up to Halloween. But the moment Halloween's over, you're dead. Those products are dead. Okay. So the problem with that is, yes, there may be the opportunity to be profitable on Halloween and wildly profitable, but you're not going to know until Halloween. The problem with marketing, digital marketing, is that it's an effort that requires time, and it really requires momentum to build up to the point where you can establish a presence, whether it's on Google, on Facebook, and even on Amazon. Just creating Facebook ads and spinning them up without even making any changes. The first couple of days of a Facebook ad is, if you have a Facebook ad, you're going to see CPC costs just be wild, maybe be very expensive. But without even touching anything else, without even doing any tuning, over time the Facebook algorithm will learn, and then so you'll see ad costs kind of taper up. It still may remain high, but you'll see it kind of stabilize. So same thing with products on Amazon, seasonality, which is, so if we're to take the example of Halloween, you're going to have to spend all year where there's no search volume. Okay, going back to what we're talking about, search volume, you're going to have to find out how to position your listing where 11 months and 3 weeks out of the year, there is pretty much virtually no search volume for Halloween products. So I can't even tell you where to start, to be honest with you, with my experience. Um, but so that is an extreme example, but this even applies to products where they sell for, say, 3 months out of the year, okay, or a month out of the year. So, for example, toys. Toys might seem like it's a um, maybe a decent opportunity to get into, but from what I've seen, toys only sell really for only 1 year. Sorry, 1 month out of the year. And that's the holiday season. So you have to spend the other 11 months wasting money on PPC, losing money on PPC, and doing this and doing that to position yourself for the holiday season. Because that's number one. Number two, from a cash flow standpoint, you if you've never sold toys before, you don't really know how much cash you need to prep for the holiday season. So it's a good problem to have, but coming from somebody who has lost 800K, 900K, with one of the main reasons being squeezed by cash flow, it is not a good place to be in. Okay, unless you've got deep pockets, great, good for you. But other than that, you probably want to avoid it. Okay, let's keep powering through this. Minimum ROI of 150% or higher. Even though nowadays it's unrealistic or very difficult to find anything over 300% ROI. So what I mean by that is try to find a product that for every dollar you spend, you can make 150. For every dollar you spend, you can make $1.50 back from it. Okay, that is starting to change a little bit too. So the ROI, usually I personally would go for an ROI of 100% or higher. Okay, but if you're looking for an ROI of 150%, then it gives you some buffer, some padding in case there's some unforeseen costs that pop up that you weren't aware of. So I would definitely I would definitely recommend that you guys shoot for products that have a minimum ROI of 100%, 150% or higher. Okay.